Hello, thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Thank you for calling.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
I'm a white male, and
You white?
yes, okay. Yeah, I'm white and stuff. Do you actually think that the people who caused that raid on Washington were good people?
The people who did what now?
Who actually did that riot in Washington at the cabinet are good people?
No. They're angry people, and a person with anger is not good.
And you don't think that Donald Trump stirred up that riot?
Not at all.
You don't think so?
Not one iota.
So nothing that Donald Trump said would actually rile that crowd up?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, my producer coming in right now, he gave me some amazing news information about how that riot was already set up. It was already happening even while the president was speaking. It was
riot happened. I was there. I was actually there.
Right.
And that riot actually started after Trump made his speech.
No, it did not.
Before.
Hold on a minute.
No, I was there. Jesse, you was not there. I was there.
And were you at the Capitol?
Were you at the Capitol?
You were at the Capitol?
I was there.
Hey, hold on, Stu, hold on.
I was there. I didn't perform in the rioting, but I saw the riots happen after Trump and Giuliani and his family made the speech.
Let me ask. So, while the president was speaking, were you at the Capitol?
While the president was speaking, I was at the Capitol.
And so you were not at the speech?
No.
Well, how do you know that? How do you know that it didn't start before the president finished?
Like I said, because of the simple fact
you're lying.
No, you're lying.
I can tell you're lying. Hold on a minute. Don't hang up. I want Nick.
Excuse me.
Stu, hold on. Do not hang up. I want you to hear this report about what happened.
I want you to hear the report. I want to hear the report.
All right. Hold on. Don't hang up. All right. Okay. Nick is here, my producer, and he has some information about what happened on at the Capitol there.
Right. And I just want to get this straight. Did I hear Stu say he was at the Capitol after the speech? What did
he said he was at the Capitol before the riot even started.
And he said he heard the speech too?
And then he said he heard the speech, but he couldn't hear it because he wasn't at the rally, at the speech.
Interesting. Well, I'm here to report a very interesting timeline of events that might put into question where Stu really was. So we're
Stu lying. I can tell. Stu lying. Okay.
So this is a
Hold on, Stu. Listen.
We're going to revisit this because some information has come out and I put it together and it was so, mamma mia, good. But right now, I just want to lay it out. The media narrative right now is that violent protesters were incited by the president to storm the Capitol. And this is the grounds for his impeachment and subsequent criminal investigation, which they're trying to do so that he can't run ever again, right?
Right. That's why they're trying to do it, because they don't want the president to even run again. And I think I heard you say some banks said they're going to...
3 banks have already stopped doing business with him.
What does that have to do with anything? Why is that? That doesn't even make sense.
Florida bank was like, their management was displeased and shocked by the events, which was enough for them to stop.
Okay, go ahead.
But okay, so check this out, guys. Here's a deeper look. The New York Times put out this timeline of events in D.C., right? On January 6th. And it turns out that the president was still speaking when the violence started.
And that's according to the New York Times, Stu.
Right. They analyzed minute by minute the crucial 2-hour period during which a Trump rally to stop the certification of the election gave way to a mob, blah, 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 right? And so this shows that at 1:12 p.m., right? This is at 1:12 p.m., the president was still speaking, yet at 1:15, violence and groups of people were already at the Capitol. He didn't even finish speaking yet. And for weeks, Trump urged supporters to be peaceful, you know? He's always been the president of law and order. We know this.
Absolutely.
He's always talking about law and order. And he's always been about peaceful. And yet, so here's the timeline right here real quick. 11:50 a.m., a group of Proud Boys is staging at the east side of the Capitol, along with hundreds of Trump supporters, right? More than a mile away, so there's already groups at the Capitol. More than a mile away at 11:52, Donald Trump Jr. films the president and his inner circle backstage before his father's speech, right? At 12:17, about 15 minutes into his speech, Trump calls on his supporters to walk to the Capitol peacefully, while his speech would go on for another hour, right? His speech would go on for another hour. This is 12:17. We're moving on to 12:29. He's 15 minutes, 30 minutes into his speech. A crowd walking from the White House towards the Capitol as Trump's speech continues. 12:47, Capitol Police respond to a report of a pipe bomb at the Republican National Committee building, right? Remember they were saying, oh, it all happened at the same time. That, right. Oh, they broke in. Oh, pipe bombs. No, the pipe bomb reports came in while the president was still speaking. A block away from the congressional building.
Amazing.
Attendees from the Trump rally arrive along the west perimeter at around 12:49. 4 minutes later, 12:53, people are already breaking through barriers. The people in the Capitol are already going through the processions, and they're not even aware of what's going on outside. 1:12 p.m., Trump's speech is still going. People have already broken in. We have videos of clashes with cops. So this whole narrative, and what we're trying to prove here today, in which I have a few more really interesting points coming up, but really what we're trying to prove here today is that the main narrative is just at least if you're going to take anything from this, that at least the main narrative that Trump incited violence, because that's what they're saying, that him at the speech, he told people, go to the Capitol and break in, that at least that narrative is just provably false.
Amazing.
So there's your timeline, right? I wanted to quickly say this. This is a report from the National Explosives Task Force, which is a mission area of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the ATF.
Yeah.
They are describing and this is the ATF, right? So ATF, FBI, DOJ, we know these people as not really Trump's fans.
Right.
They themselves are reporting on what they're calling a critical time frame between the hours of 12:30 and 1:15. This critical time frame, which is when Trump was still speaking, is what they're investigating. I want you guys to hear this clip from CBS's Catherine Herridge. She's not exactly this conservative pro-Trump lady, right? I want you guys to hear this clip of her reporting on the ATF's, the National Explosives Task Force report.
A week into the investigation, the timeline is coming into focus, and the significant window is between 12:45 and 1:15. While President Trump was addressing the rally and he had not concluded, a group was already pushing its way onto the Capitol Hill campus at around 1 p.m. And according to these law enforcement documents obtained by CBS News, minutes earlier at 12:45, a pipe bomb was discovered at the Republican National Committee headquarters. And then a half hour later, a second pipe bomb was discovered at the Democratic National Committee headquarters. Both of these offices are walking distance from the Capitol. The U.S. Attorney here in Washington told reporters the question is whether the pipe bombs were diversionary. In other words, were the pipe bombs an effort to pull first responders away from the Capitol and further weaken security during that critical period that it was breached?
Wow. I rest my case.
Yeah.
I knew Stu was lying.
Yeah, there's so much good information. And stop me at any time, and I'm almost done, but stop me at any time if you have any questions. But there's so much good information and analysis, basically, of what she's saying, right? Is that these pipe bombs are being investigated by FBI and others. They're saying that this is of significant interest of them. They're saying to investigators, this is of significant interest because they're saying that these pipe bombs seemingly were placed to pull away Capitol Police and law enforcement from the Capitol, right? So we've been talking about how this looks like a setup.
It looked like a setup.
Right?
When I saw it happen, I'm like, this is a setup. They walking into a trap. Mm-hmm. I had no information, but it just looked too easy to get into the Capitol and breaking out the window. And the Capitol is normally protected by officers or somebody, right? It looked like a setup to me. And then until this morning, I was under the impression that the pipe bombs were at the Capitol.
No.
But they were not at the Capitol. They were at the Republican headquarters and the Democratic headquarters. Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
And seemingly placed there with the targeted intent to move law enforcement away from the Capitol. Law enforcement officials, this is really interesting too. Law enforcement officials confirmed to CBS News the identification of individuals using what they're calling military or small unit tactics. And this is among the highest priorities for DC U.S. Attorney's Sedition Task Force. So basically, let me translate. They're investigating not only reports, but eyewitness accounts and from footage. They're coming to the conclusion that many individuals who were in the Capitol were using what they're calling military and small unit tactics to communicate with each other. That there were people in there, trained people in there, communicating with each other with a goal that they were trying to achieve, right? And they were using these tactics to communicate with each other. And investigating this is of the highest priority for DS U.S. Attorney Sedition Task Force. Video footage, eyewitness accounts of the apparent use of these tactics, which is trained to military plus law enforcement, drew immediate scrutiny from investigators. They immediately noticed that something was weird with a bunch of the people that were in the Capitol, that they were not just regular people, right?
Amazing.
These tactics are commonly used in hostile, unknown environments to reach mission objectives. They can include hand signals, physical contact, to unify and communicate with the group. These are trained behaviors. This is law enforcement confirming to CBS that these are trained behaviors. New York Post, we talked about this. We confirmed.
Also, we talked yesterday, some people were saying that they saw some of the officers waving to people to come in. Y'all come on down now.
This is interesting. CNN reported that 2 Capitol Police officers are suspended, numerous others under investigation for their role in enabling the riot.
See?
So this is from CNN. Oh, man, it's crazy the information dump. But, and here's one more last thing. FBI has confirmed that the Capitol riots were planned many days prior to the President Trump's January 6th speech.
They confirmed that.
They confirmed this. This alone should be grounds to end the impeachment proceeding.
Yeah. This was from the New York Times as well.
Yes, New York Times is reporting that.
You hear that, Stu? FBI confirmed the Capitol riots were planned many days prior to the president's January 6th speech.
Mm-hmm. The FBI issued a dire warning on the day before the riots. And in the weeks leading up to the January 6th rally, the FBI worked internally with every FBI field office to ensure they were looking for intelligence that may have developed about potential violence during the rally on January 6th. Assistant Director said, "We have developed intelligence that a number of individuals were planning to travel to the D.C. area with intentions to cause violence." This is weeks before his speech on January 6th.
That's amazing. All this information is left out from the public.
Not to mention that, D.C. mayor was warned and refused any additional help. Like, there's so much going on.
The black mayor refused help.
Muriel Bowser.
According to the Gateway Pundit.
Right, exactly.
Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser were warned but refused any additional help before January 6th.
Yeah.
They hate this man. They want to destroy him. Who is behind all this stuff?
There's definitely a big element here, and there's a lot to digest, and we're going to wait and see about a lot of these things.
Yeah.
And the element of anger is there too. You make a really good point of those Trump supporters that have become angry.
Yeah.
And they overreacted in the wrong way.
That's why
But there's also this element too, so we can't ignore this.
Let's see what Stu have to say now. Lion Stu. Stu out of New Jersey. Did you hear that?
I heard all of that. And like I said, you guys are coming up with this anytime you want.
No, that's from the New York Times. That's from the New York Times, Stu.
Okay, like I said, I dispute the New York Times when they say that because I was there. And I know what.
And where were you?
He was still speaking. When he started his speech, he started with rhetoric, and it riled up his base, and his base went down there. He could still be speaking, and they could still go down there after they heard his rhetoric speech and went down there. But he could still be speaking. So, like I said, you're wrong on that.
But what about?
Hold on one minute. Nick, I want to ask you a question.
Nick, what about all the reports?
Hold on, Nick.
But the FBI was saying weeks that the FBI was warning weeks ahead of time.
Okay.
The impeachment is about him inciting violence that very day during that speech. How come the FBI warned the weeks before?
Stu, you're not even listening. He is asking you a question. Is Stu black or white? I think he said he's white.
He said he's white.
He sounds like a black man. Stu,
National Guard.
Stu, did you hear? Stu,
He's not listening.
Nick has a question for you.
Okay, what's the question?
And hear the question out before you respond, all right?
All right.
Okay, go ahead.
The charge is that he incited violence during that day, right? He charged violence, right? But how come the FBI themselves are saying that they were investigating reports weeks prior? They even warned them a day before. Wouldn't that debunk that?
That's not what the FBI said. The FBI
I literally just reported on that. New York Times said that.
Reported from the New York Times, Stu.
Right. The FBI is saying that they're not ruling anything out, including the president and Giuliani's rhetoric that started the riot.
Well, it's the FBI. They hate him.
That's what they actually said.
No,
and they said that straight up. So let me ask you a question. No, I want to ask you a question.
I'll put you on hold until we. The New York Times is reporting FBI confirms the Capitol riots were planned many days prior to President Trump's January 6th speech. Do you believe that?
That was planned many days before.
Do you believe that?
Because of the simple fact Donald Trump was talking this rhetoric that the election was stolen, which was the biggest lie.
Go ahead. Keep it in your mind. That's fine. Amazing stuff. I'll let you go. Amazing stuff. Thank you, Nick.
No problem.
It looked like a setup, folks. Everything about it said setup. Amazing. And don't forget to like, follow, tweet, subscribe, and share the Jesse Lee Peterson radio show, folks. We really appreciate it. We are at war. It is a spiritual battle for the soul of America. And it's going to take all of us to do it.